Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story TV. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Thank you, Gertrude. It's just a real pleasure for me to be here today as well. My name is Dr. Sue Williams. My doctorate is in quantum counselling, which is based on epigenetics, quantum physics and quantum biology. So it's all about how we can improve our lifestyle and actually change the function of the genes that are on our DNA, turn on the good ones, turn off the bad ones. And the counselling part is me meeting with people and showing them how they can do that, giving them specific methods of doing that. I'm also a clinical hypnotherapist, and I really got into the quantum counselling because I was the hypnotherapist. I could see that people needed more than just fixing those emotional and mental issues that they have. It's a whole body approach rather than just working through maybe a fear of spiders or something similar. I also do a lot of hypnotherapy with athletes and sporting teams to overcome negative mindset, any problems they have with their sport, golfers who continually slice the ball, footballers who miss the goals, that sort of thing. So a wide range of athletes and many different sports. I'm a competitive horse rider myself, so the reason I got into hypnotherapy, it's a very long tale, is that because I was a rider, I could see that other women in their 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond were not getting the most out of their riding because of fear. So that was what got me into the hypnotherapy, to assist these women to overcome fear and then start enjoying their riding again, not dreading it, but actually looking forward to being out and being with their horses. So as I said, that's what got me into it. Then I got into the quantum counselling, and then even more. There are so many rabbit holes you go down to when you get into holistic health. I decided that maybe the animals needed some assistance as well. So I got into energy work and body work for animals. I do work with horses, dogs and cats. I would do it with other animals. I just haven't had the opportunity to do that yet. So obviously the body work is hands-on. So I find those knots and sore places on their bodies, allow them to correct their posture, which again will overcome a lot of the pain because they'll be carrying their body in a much better frame. And then also the hands-on energy work. So I can stand there with the horses in person with my hands on different areas, allowing source energy to flow through me into the horse and clearing a lot of emotional and spiritual blockages. And animals do have emotional and spiritual blockages, just the same as we do. Also hands off if there are animals perhaps out in a herd that don't particularly want you to be coming up close and touching them. I can do the same energy work but at a distance. So really I can be standing at the fence, the horses or whatever animals I'm treating can be out in the field, in the paddock, and I can just do that from a distance. And the amazing thing is that I can also do it remotely. So if someone has an issue with their horse, dog, cat, whatever, they send me a photo and then I can do remote energy work. They give me an outline of what they think is wrong with their animal. And from my home to wherever the animal is, I do the energy work remotely because we are all connected, and that's goes full circle back to the quantum physics, which says that everything is connected, and it truly is. And using the energy work is really effective. And the changes that come can be quite physical. I was at a hands-on and hands-off, but in close proximity, clinic that we did last year with the energy work with horses. And there was a group of us standing around a horse that had issues with its neck and its spine. And if you've ever been to a chiropractor and heard that crack when they adjust your spine or your neck, that was what was happening with us standing back a few meters from the horse, doing our energy work, directing it at the horse, and the neck was going crack, crack, crack as the tension was being released. And the horse, you could see on its face that, wow, what's happening here? But the relief after we had done it all, and also a lot of emotion was released. And we find that too, not only the physical aspect, but the emotions get released, and so much relief for the animals that we work on. So we can say that it truly does work because we see it happening all the time in our practice. I'm with a group of other animal energy workers, and what an amazing profession to be in. So gratifying to be able to help animals that don't have a voice. And we're lucky that our owners come to us. Obviously, the mainstream veterinary care is available for them, but often they feel that there's something missing, and that's going deeper and getting the emotional trauma, anything like that, released to give these animals so much more freedom. So that has, as I said before, a real rabbit hole. I started many years ago just with mindfulness, and that was purely a fluke in a way, because I was working in education at that time, and we had a professional development activity where a mindfulness practitioner came and talked to us about how mindfulness can help us in our day-to-day lives, help relieve the stress. Obviously, in education, working in school, it can be very stressful. So that was something that we were given to assist us, but it just went off as a light bulb moment for me that, oh, wow, this is something I didn't know about, and something I would really like to investigate and potentially in the future do it as a profession, which has happened. So I went from the mindfulness, I did train to be a practitioner, then NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. That was just a natural progression because that's the way you speak to people, the way you use your words, the way you frame that person's existence, their reality, so that they can improve their lives. And then that led to the hypnotherapy, which led to the quantum counselling, which led to the energy work. So it's been quite a voyage for me, but an amazing one. And to come to this stage now where I can share this with people all around the world is just amazing. And I'm blessed really to be able to do that. And as technology obviously has caught up and we can reach people all around the world, it's made it so much easier. And I have clients for my hypnotherapy, for my energy work, for the quantum counselling from all around the world, thanks to being able to work online. And as I said, it's just as effective as being in person. And in fact, the hypnotherapy is even better online because it means the person can be comfortable in their own home. They can be sitting on a couch, just reclining back on their bed with plenty of pillows around them. And they can feel totally relaxed knowing that they don't have to immediately come out of trance at the end, get back into their normal mindset just to be able to drive home. So it's amazing that they can just take their time after the session, allow those processes to continue. And once you have worked in hypnotherapy, processes can begin immediately, but continue over that day, the coming days, weeks and months, as your subconscious works through the thing that we deal with in a session. So yeah, the online situation is amazing, and it's been a real asset to all my practitioner areas, all my practices. And I'm off after this podcast today to go and see a number of horses to do energy work and body work on them. So I'm really looking forward to today. It's going to be amazing. So this up to now, it has been my journey, and it will continue, and who knows what I'm going to find out and want to do next.
Wow, what an interesting story. Now, you transformed your life and your career in your mid 60s.
Mm.
What inspired this significant change, and what were the biggest challenges that you faced?
Well, it's funny, because they say that when you're around 7 to 8 years old, whatever is your biggest and most powerful interest in your life should be what you pursue as a career. And I was one of those kids who had no idea what I wanted to do in my life. As I got older, got into secondary school, I went to career counsellors to try and work out where I should head with my studies, which stream I should take, whether it was humanities, science, or whatever. And I had no idea. So purely so that I was able to get work when I finished school, I went to business college. And back then it was the typewriters and the shorthand, that sort of thing. But we also learned accounting, which helped me much later on in life. So that enabled me to get a job. But right through my life, I was very fortunate to stay at home with my kids while they were young. So that was amazing to be able to do that. But once the kids were older, I thought, well, maybe I should go back to work for the mental stimulation as much as anything else, just going out rather than being with the kids all the time. So I did. I actually went back and did more study, and the computer era was very much in force by then. So I went back and did a diploma in technology computing, also reviewed and renewed my accounting credentials. So that enabled me to go out and work then. But as I said previously, it wasn't until I was in the education sector, and I worked for the education department for 26 years as a business manager, and we did the mindfulness professional development, and all of a sudden it was, this is what I want to do. And I'm thinking back now that when I was 7 or 8 years old, that definitely was a profession that you could go into at that stage. And professional hypnotherapist, pretty much unheard of at those, when was that? Early 1960s. So, and I'm thinking, well, that's why. It hadn't come around it hadn't evolved into something that you could do as a profession. Yes. But now, in my 60s, this was probably when I was in my sort of the second half of my 50s, that I did this training and then thought, oh, wow, and then went on to do everything else. And then last year I retired, and now I'm doing it full time, and it's just amazing.
Wow, that is just awesome. Now, what role has hypnotherapy played in your own personal transformation, and how do you integrate it into your work?
Yes, well, I was introduced to it with self-hypnosis, and I thought, this is amazing because you can deal with so many of your own personal issues. I no longer have a fear of spiders, which is something I've mentioned before, because I was able to work on that. Public speaking to you now, and then I can stand up in front of an audience. I have absolutely no worries about doing that. A number of other things that just little niggly things that annoy you during the day. You think, if only I could just pick up that phone without thinking, I don't really want to pick up the phone. That was a real phobia I had. Fine if someone rang me, but making myself pick up the phone and call people was I'm really stressed over it. And when you're working as a business manager, you're on the phone all day having to call people. So that was another thing I overcame. And I later had assistance from another hypnotherapist in training. We were doing assisting each other doing our practice, and that really sealed the deal for me. And I was wondering why it was still stuck in my head that I liked the telephone for ringing out. And two things came up in our session. One was my grandmother when I was quite young, and she was on the phone and she was hysterical. Someone had called her and she had received really bad news. I can't remember what it was, but I was watching her as a child, probably 4 or 5 years old, and she was screaming and sobbing with the phone in her hand. And that came up in the session. And the second thing was that later on, when I was probably about 12 or 13, we were living in a very bushy area, and there was a bushfire. We didn't have a phone at home, so we had to get in the car and go down the street to the public phone to call the fire brigade. And in those days, you had to put the money in the slot, and the money that my mother was putting in the slot kept falling through, so she couldn't make the call, and it was so stressful. And these things came up, And that's why I hate ringing on the phone. And once we realised that, yes, I
Oh,
can overcome that quite easily now. I know why.
yes, yes. That is so fascinating. Now, many women struggle with weight loss due to
Mm.
self-sabotage and emotional
Yes.
blocks.
Mm.
What are some of the most common mental barriers that you've seen in your clients?
They're many and varied actually in the weight loss area. It's very complex. Like if someone comes to us for weight loss and smoking, then we
Right.
say, well, we'll deal with these one at a time because they can be very complex. These reasons why we turn to food or we turn to drinking alcohol as well as smoking, and they're
Yes.
to comfort us, fill a need that is something that we require in our lives. There's something happening that we want to sort of block it off. So we do stuff like smoking, drinking too much, so we just blank out for a while. With
Yes.
the eating that causes overweight, sometimes that can be purely for comfort.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
if we're going through a stressful time in our lives, and I mean it can be continual stress, we go from one thing to another, which causes us stress. Our work
Yes.
life, our relationships, money, all these things that are forefront in our lives can
Yeah.
cause huge stress. So we turn to comfort, and in our subconscious mind, we go back to our childhood. Maybe every time something bad happened, our mother gave us ice cream because it made us feel better. Maybe she
Yes.
baked a cake. Maybe it was the only time you sat down to a proper meal where you had a well-cooked main course, then you had dessert, maybe you had lemonade with it. Maybe it was the only time you did that was a celebration, like a birthday or Christmas or family gatherings where it was all fun and you felt amazing. So the subconscious mind takes you back to that.
Oh,
Here, you
yes.
felt really good when you were eating that cake. So here, eat the cake now so that you can feel good. But you get trapped in that cycle of turning to food for comfort every time you want or to feel good. And there's also another slightly darker side, that if you have had physical trauma at a time in your life, sometimes the subconscious mind says, and this is particularly if there's sexual abuse, the
Right.
subconscious mind tells you, well, you don't want that to happen again. So I'm
Mm.
going to get you to eat and eat and eat so that your body gets bigger. You have that physical barrier of
Yes.
the additional weight, but also you're not going to look as attracted to the people who may normally be attracted to you in a sexual way.
Yeah.
So it's the subconscious mind protecting you, and that's the subconscious mind's job, to protect you. And until you find out why these things are happening, it will continue to do that. But of course, you can override that, which is the amazing thing.
That is fantastic. It's really good to know that you can reprogram your mind and change your whole mindset.
Mm.
So, how does shifting one's mindset contribute to long-term success in health and wellness?
Overcoming these things like problems with your eating, getting rid of the negative mindset that turning to the comfort food all the time, and
Yeah.
instead having in the forefront of your mind how amazing you feel when you eat a good diet.
Yes.
Having nutritional foods, eating the fruit and vegetable, lean meats, all these things that contribute to your health. And again, that's part of my quantum counselling, because you want to be eating the organic foods to allow the genetic part of you to flourish, to
Yeah.
turn on those positive and healthy genes on your DNA. And
Yes.
once you have changed the mindset, you don't even have to think about it. It's so easy, and you just naturally reach for the good foods rather than the bad. So,
Right. Yeah.
and drinking water. How many people struggle to get enough water each day? So again, you change your mindset that instead of having multiple cups of tea or coffee, have a glass of purified water, oxygenated, hydrogenated water that is going to help your body to be its healthiest. And you can do that by changing your mind.
Oh, I love it. Now, can you share a success story of someone that you worked with who overcame self-sabotage through mindset transformation and hypnotherapy?
Yeah, the most obvious ones are my women equestrians, because I have had so much success with them overcoming their fear, which was stopping them from enjoying their riding. There was one lady in particular who, she was really quite terrified. She'd had a number of serious falls, and I believe she also had an incident when she was towing her horse in the horse trailer, where something very scary happened. And her mind, her subconscious mind, was just saying, stop, stop, stop. Every time you think of horses and riding, I'm going to just tell you to stop. I'm going to flash all these terrible images into your conscious mind so that you reinforce this fear. And she came to me because she said, I've got the most beautiful horse. He is just a dream. And I don't know why I'm so scared to ride him, because there's nothing that will go wrong. He's such a beautiful, calm horse. I know I can ride him without any fear. So what's holding me back?
Right.
And in that very first session, we got her back on the horse. And I think we did maybe 2 further ones to overcome the fear of towing the horse.
Right.
And just to really make sure that it was all instilled in her mind and that she was going to go forward without fear. And she just went from goal to goal to goal with that horse. Once she was able to get out again and go to clinics and events, it was life-changing for her.
Oh, wow. That's just amazing. Now, what are some of the biggest myths around weight loss and wellness that you would like to debunk?
Well, really that if you want to change your diet and change from being a couch potato to being a more physical person, being out moving, that sort of thing, that you only need to rely on willpower.
Right.
How many people have started a diet on the Monday or on the 1st of January and within a couple of days they've just reverted to their old habits? I'm going to join the gym for the new year. 1st of January, the New Year's resolution, fitter and more healthy this year, go to the gym, have a much better diet, blah, blah, blah. Definitely within the first couple of weeks, the majority of people will have reverted to their old habit.
Right.
Willpower doesn't work because it all comes through this frontal lobe, which is the logical part of our brain. And we need to get inside, get to the subconscious, and then we can get rid of the negative, just get rid of any of these things that are holding us back.
Right.
And when you get rid of something, that creates a space. And then we fill that space positive. These are the things that you will be doing from this day on. And some people, it is gradual because things are so ingrained in childhood.
Yes.
It's instant. They will instantly go out and clear out their fridge and their pantry. They'll go and start a book in at the gym, and they will be consistent. They'll go and buy all the healthy foods, and their lifestyle changes virtually within the first couple of days.
Wow, that makes such a difference. Such a difference.
It does. Willpower just does not work.
So how can
for a very small minority who are really powerful with their thoughts, but for the majority, no, willpower just doesn't work in the long run.
Yeah. So how can women create sustainable wellness habits without falling into the cycle of dieting and frustration?
Oh, and it is frustrating too. As I said, how many people have started a diet that hasn't worked? You in the beginning, you're so gung-ho. You really restrict yourself.
Right.
And, it's the old half a tomato and a lettuce leaf.
Yes.
Your body needs more, and it's better to eat more of the good food, so that you feel that you are full, and the body likes to feel that. And then allow yourself, just get to the point where you are actually feeling hungry before you eat again, and you can train yourself to do that quite easily. And that's the self-hypnosis. I give my clients recordings to listen to when they go home after their sessions, and if they need some help, rather than having to call me, they just listen to the recording, which has all that good stuff in there, reinforcing good, so that can help them sustain that healthy lifestyle a much longer time.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. That is just awesome. Now let's talk about business and impact. You run multiple businesses and platforms, including Peak Mindset Coach and sports hypnotherapy.
Yep.
How do these different ventures align with your mission?
Well, I started with the sport hypnotherapy, as I said, specializing in the equestrian.
Yes.
And I love sports in general, so that was a natural path for me to take. And it's probably a healthier mindset for me, because although I'm dealing with the fear with all the sports people, because fear holds all athletes back to a certain extent, I'm not dealing with the significant trauma that other hypnotherapists are drawn to for their practice. So that keeps my mindset positive and healthy. So that's where I started, and then branched out into mindset, and specifically mindset is the word, because often hypnosis scares people off. When they think of hypnosis, it's the stage hypnotists who make you bark like a dog and that sort of thing and make you look silly. And the people who are the subjects for that want to do it, or they wouldn't. The hypnotist wouldn't be able to do that with them. And that's something that's within them. They want to be the center of attention, be up on the stage without fear. And they don't feel any fear when they're up there. So there's a reason they do that. But that sort of tainted the word hypnosis. So I've moved more to mindset training, and I use all my hypnosis techniques in there. The person just doesn't realize. It's not as obvious. We don't have to necessarily go into the hypnotic trance formally, where you go down the stairs, that sort of thing, and you go into a deeply relaxed state. It can be more conversational hypnosis, and the person doesn't really realize that I'm doing it. So that's perfect for particularly the athletes who want to change the mindset but not necessarily have hypnosis. But and then with the energy work as well with my business, being able to help the animal, that's for me. That gives me such an incredible purpose in my life, to be a voice for the animals who don't necessarily have a voice. If they have really good owners, then the owners will be their voice. But there are others who they've exhausted all avenues of helping their horse, and then they turn to me to do the energy and body work to see if I can resolve the issues that no one else has been able to. So that part of my business is for me.
I love it. So let's finish off with this question. You host Bali empowerment retreats and other events worldwide. What can attendees expect from these retreats, and how do they contribute to transformation?
The amazing thing about being in a group is that we all feed off one another.
Yes.
If you have come together with a single purpose to improve your life, it doesn't matter if you're improving it in different ways to the other people in the group, but your purpose for being there as a group is to improve your life, improve your mindset, so that you will improve your physical being. And we feed off one another. We see someone go through a huge transformation, and then we have that physically in front of us, rather than just reading about it or seeing it on YouTube. We are there, and we know that it is genuinely a change that this person has gone through. And then our own subconscious mind is then open to say, oh, if they did it, why can't I?
Yes.
And it's the support as well, knowing that the people who are there, they're not laughing at you behind your back. They are genuinely there to support you, and for the other people in the group to support them. And it's amazing the things that can happen when you are in that group environment. Things that have been deeply held in people, they feel brave enough in that group setting to be able to allow them to come forward and be released. So, group settings are amazing.
People fuel off each other's energy.
Oh, yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what's the terminology? That the end result is more than the parts that go into it.
Yes.
It expands exponentially when you're together with that energy from everyone. It just gets bigger
and bigger. Well, Sue, thank you so much for coming online today and sharing your story with us. I have your website scrolling at the bottom of the screen in case somebody wants to connect with you. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today.
Oh, my absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a delight to speak to, and it's been a highlight of my day for sure.
Fantastic. And thank you to everybody who tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We are a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share our stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So if you need help in any of these areas that Sue has highlighted today, please reach out to her. Don't try and do it the hard way. There are smart ways to get things done. I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody, with yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And Sue, thanks again for the interview.
Thank you, Gertrude.
Bye for now, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.